Welcome back to Lutherans Alive. We continue our conversation with Pastor Beth Seifert and Pastor John Grope from Pittsburgh Lutheran United Ministries in the city and in the city for good. Before the break, we were talking a bit about what life is like a bit for the two of you as pastors and your staff, of course, the others that you have working with you. Say a bit, if you could say a bit more about what that's like, because there's still word and sacrament ministry going on, just as there would be at a congregation that's a single site by itself. Now you have 7 congregations, but you're still doing word and sacrament ministry. Could you say a few more words about that?
And that's what we're about. I mean, the pastoral ministry of word and sacrament is really the key. And as I'd mentioned, the model is that the single church that has multiple services, instead of everyone going to that one altar, what we say is every community has a significant altar. And so we travel to the different altars and then treat the 7 churches as just one large ministry throughout the week. And it just opens that up. But really the word and sacrament ministry is really the key for what we're about.
And the way we set it up is that each congregation has to pick a worship time. We have 9:15 worship services and 11:15 worship services, because that then provides us with almost an hour to travel between, and if there's a special event, baptisms or anything at any one service, it still provides us with plenty of time to get to the next service. We have a team of pastors that provide the worship leadership, both preaching and celebration of the Eucharist. And the way we do it is we do it in a rotation basis, so that we have a schedule where we move from church to church, and all the congregations get to know all of the pastoral team. And this works out so well for providing continuity, because then if, as happened on Saturday, we had 2 funerals. And it really didn't matter which one of us attended which funeral, because the families involved knew us both. And the same thing goes for hospital calls, any other kind of pastoral care. Even though we might have a closer relationship with one congregation than another for a variety of reasons, they know that if one of us can't be there, the other one will, and they know all of us. So it really works out well. Our concern has often been that people will not appreciate the variety, that they'll prefer one pastor over another. And when we bring that up, they say, oh no, we like the variety. It gives us a nice change of pace. And the same thing with styles. One thing about this model is that it not only helps the congregations, but it provides great collegial support for the pastors. It provides pastoral support in terms of providing the pastoral package, which is more, adequate, as opposed to struggling in a congregation that can't provide an adequate salary. It provides wonderful support in the team. As John mentioned earlier, we can go on vacation and feel very comfortable being away, because we know that somebody is covering for us back in Pittsburgh, someone who knows the people, someone who we feel very comfortable can handle whatever would come along. And that is worth so much to us pastors when we try to plan for the care of our flocks.
And I think one of the things as we sit back and look at the future, if I can do a promo, we're open to other congregations. I mean, our intention is to grow to 12 or 16 or a figure out there that we don't even know of. But for the pastors that are involved, it gives a support system, it gives an opportunity to look at ministry, use their special skills in different areas where they may not have had the flexibility to be able to do that. What it does to the congregations is it challenges the congregations now. Instead of having the pastor do everything, unlock the building, all those things that small churches depend on pastors, it enables the congregations to again become involved in their ministry, because the pastor can't do all those things that they become accustomed to doing. Some of them like that, some of them don't like that, but ultimately the church is going to grow because the lay people are involved. And the more we pastors get out of their way, the better off we found our congregations. And it's interesting that we've been doing this now for, I guess, 6.5 years, going on 7 years, and the congregations have stopped the attrition of losing vital members. Yeah, there's some that die and those kinds of things that are taking place, but as far as the actual people, the mass migration out of our parishes, we haven't noticed that to the degree that it is in so many other congregations that we keep hearing about. So they're seeing hope, they're experiencing some future, and we are sitting back saying, okay, how do we spread this model so that other people can become involved in it? And the staff ministry that Pastor Beth, I mean, is so valuable. I mean, to just sit back and say to the different members of your congregation that you get to pick and choose now who you want to do whatever the ministries is, and if we're able to do that, we will do that, whether it's a baptism or communion or confession or private or visitation or whatever those things are. But ultimately, there will be somebody there available to provide you the ministry you need in the time of crises. Pastor Beth gets a phone call while she's away on vacation 100 miles away saying, this and this happened, are you able? It's covered, instead of sitting back saying, oh, I wonder who's going to be there. So
it is wonderful. It sounds as if there is a lot of joy in this cooperation. That I'm sure that has its. There are days where it has its struggles too, but certainly a lot of joy in that cooperation that you have with one another, and such a hopeful way to look at things rather than saying, you know what, this congregation is dying, I guess there's nothing we can do. You're saying, yes, there is something we can do. We can work together. We can join hands.
Yeah. And our communities are the real recipients. Every time a Lutheran church, every time a church closes, it's not just 25 people, as I mentioned earlier, leaving the church and finding another church. It's a community you miss. It's a community you lose. You lose a Duquesne, or you lose a Monongahela, or you lose Glassport, or you lose, I mean, those are whole ministry communities that you lose whenever a church changes. How about if we sit back and say, how do we keep that ministry available for that community there? It's just a whole different way of looking at ministry, and allows the people then to feel the excitement of it.
God's doing wonderful things, and we'll pray that He continues to do wonderful things. Thank you so much for being with us here today. And thank you so much for being with us on Lutherans Alive. And whether you live in the city or in the outlying areas of Pittsburgh, we know that somewhere in or near your community there is a Lutheran congregation waiting to welcome you. We would be pleased to welcome you. Come and worship with us. Until next time, I'm Pastor Tony Schneck. This has been Lutherans Alive. See you next time.